Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
So students, in this video, I'll take up some important questions from the chapter Life Processes. So the first topic, nutrition in humans. Question number 1. Draw the diagram of human alimentary canal. As you know, alimentary canal is the digestive system in human beings right from the mouth till the rectum through which the food passes. So to draw the diagram, first just draw a little part of the face. So to show that actually this process starts right from the mouth. Then there is an esophagus, which is the food pipe. Food pipe ends into a C-shaped organ called the stomach, which is a muscular organ. Then the muscular or this stomach opens up into a tube-like structure called the intestine. The first part of small intestine is the duodenum. Then before you draw this small intestine, first draw the large intestine. Right? So this duodenum then extends into a highly coiled structure, the small intestine, and in the end it gets attached to the large intestine or the colon. This is the large intestine, the rectum and the anus, where the alimentary canal ends. Apart from these main organs, there are two associated glands, main glands. One is the liver near the stomach, right? It's the largest organ of our body with a small gallbladder. And apart from this, there is also a pancreas, right where there is duodenum. It also opens up into the duodenum. So this is the alimentary canal. You can label the parts: esophagus, stomach, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, small intestine and large intestines. This is the alimentary canal of human beings. Question number 2. What is the role of saliva in digestion? Actually, as we intake the food, the digestion process starts in the mouth itself. In our oral cavity, there are three pairs of salivary glands and they release the liquid called saliva. This saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase. This salivary amylase breaks down the complex carbohydrates like starch into simple carbohydrates like glucose and maltose. So when these complex carbohydrates are broken down into simple molecules, it becomes easy for the body to absorb them and their assimilation, their usage. So the role of saliva is breaking down of complex carbohydrates into simple glucose and maltose molecules. So the digestion process starts itself in our mouth. We need to chew the food properly so that saliva gets mixed up in the mouth. Question number 3. What is the role of hydrochloric acid secreted by stomach? As I told you, this esophagus ends up into the C-shaped muscular organ called stomach. Stomach secretes the gastric juices, which contains three main components: the hydrochloric acid, mucus, and the enzyme pepsin. So this hydrochloric acid basically, firstly, it kills the bacteria or the pathogens present in the food. Secondly, it softens the food. While the food is being churned in the stomach, it softens the food. Thirdly, it makes the food acidic. And the enzyme pepsin, it becomes active only in the acidic medium. The enzyme pepsin, which breaks down the proteins into simple compounds, amino acids and peptones, it can act only in the acidic medium. So this acidic medium is provided by the hydrochloric acid. Next question. How are fats digested in our body? Now the fat molecules are quite big as compared to carbohydrates and proteins. So firstly, and fats are not soluble in water. So here comes the role of liver. Liver secretes a juice called the bile, which is temporarily stored in the gallbladder. And then when food enters from the stomach into the duodenum, the bile is released from the gallbladder. This bile actually emulsifies the fat molecules. Emulsification is breaking down the fat molecules into tiny droplets. So this emulsification is done by the bile. So for the digestion of fat, first emulsification occurs with the help of bile when fat molecules are broken down into tiny droplets. Secondly, there are enzymes secreted by pancreas and small intestine, the lipase enzyme, which breaks down the fat molecules into smaller water-soluble absorbable forms, that is fatty acids and glycerols. This is how the fats are digested in our body. Next question. What are digestive enzymes and what is their function? What is their role played in digestion? Digestive enzymes are the chemicals secreted by exocrine glands in the alimentary canal. They help in breaking down the nutrients into smaller molecules which are soluble in water and which are in the absorbable forms, so that the nutrients get absorbed into the blood and they are transported to each and every cell of the body for utilization. Next, how does the structure of small intestine help in absorption of nutrients? So I just told you, this small intestine is a highly coiled structure, right? So it is a double membrane structure. The inner lining of the small intestine has tiny finger-like projections which are called villi. These are the villi. These villi, first of all, they increase the surface area. There is lot of area for the absorption of nutrients. Secondly, they are highly thin-walled so that the nutrients can pass through this wall. Moreover, these villi are richly supplied by the blood vessels. These arteries and veins forming the capillaries in the villi. So, as the nutrients get digested in the small intestine, they enter from the villi and into the blood vessels. Then from the blood vessels, they are carried to all the cells, all the tissues of the body. So, the structure of small intestine which helps in absorption is, first you have to explain the presence of villi, which are tiny finger-like projections in the inner wall of small intestine, and they increase the surface area for absorption. Secondly, the small intestine are richly supplied by the blood vessels, which helps in absorption of the nutrients from the small intestine into the blood. So that's all from this topic, nutrition. Let's move on to the next topic. So students, the next topic, nutrition in plants. So some important questions from this topic. Question number 1. Differentiate between autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. As you must have seen in my previous video, autotrophic mode of nutrition, these are performed by the organisms which can make their own food by using simple inorganic substances, that is carbon dioxide and water, by utilizing the solar energy. While the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the organisms cannot make their own food, so they depend upon autotrophs to obtain the nutrients. So autotrophic mode of nutrition is performed by green plants and green algae, while heterotrophic mode of nutrition is performed by all animals including fungus and even humans. We are heterotrophs. Question number 2. What are the necessary conditions for the autotrophic nutrition and what are the byproduct? So for this question, you can also give the equation for photosynthesis. That is, they use carbon dioxide and water and utilize the sunlight or the solar energy, and the products formed are oxygen and glucose. So what are the necessary conditions for autotrophic nutrition? First is the presence of two raw materials, that is carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil. Then absorption of sunlight to utilize the solar energy. And one more thing is the presence of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the green colored pigment present in the leaves. This chlorophyll helps in the absorption of solar energy. It traps the solar energy and this energy is utilized to perform this reaction. So the byproducts are oxygen and glucose. Actually what happens in a plant, they also need glucose for their growth and development. They also need oxygen for respiration. But the rate of photosynthesis is higher than their requirement. So both the products are produced in excess. So whatever extra glucose is produced, it is converted into the complex other nutrients like starch, and then it is stored in the storage organs of the plant. And whatever extra oxygen is produced, it is released into the air through the pores called stomata. So this is the answer for the second question. Third, how do plants obtain raw material required for photosynthesis? Now, I just told you plants need carbon dioxide and water. So how do they obtain these two raw materials? So basically, you know, the leaves, there are tiny pores on the underside of the leaves called stomata. So carbon dioxide is absorbed from the air through stomata. Then there are roots, there are tiny roots here, and water molecules are present in the soil. So these root hairs absorb the water enters into the root hair through diffusion. This water also contains the soluble minerals. So water and minerals, they are absorbed from the root and they are transported through xylem tissue into the leaf. So carbon dioxide from air, water and minerals from the roots, and sunlight, solar energy from sun, which is trapped by the chlorophyll. This is how the leaf gets all the raw material to perform the process of photosynthesis. Next question. Leaves of a potted plant are covered with Vaseline. Now, will this plant remain healthy for long? Give reason. Now, Vaseline is not water soluble. So, if you cover the leaf with a Vaseline layer or any other waxy layer, what will happen? The tiny pores called the stomata, they will get blocked, right? So, first let me draw the structure of stomata. Stomata are actually pores which are surrounded by two guard cells. These are two guard cells. These guard cells contain chlorophyll as well as the nucleus. So, chloroplast and nucleus. Apart from this, you can also draw other epidermal cells which do not contain chlorophyll, although they do have nucleus. Right? So these pores are called the stomata. Now what happens if you cover this leaf with a waxy coating? What will happen? These pores will get blocked and exchange of gases will not take place. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide enters the leaf and oxygen comes out of this leaf. So first thing, exchange of gases required for photosynthesis will not take place. Second, another important function of stomata is this water, it has to travel anti-gravity, it is going upward. So you need a suction pull so that this water diffuses in an upward direction. Take a simple example. There is a straw in a glass of water, all right, and you want to drink that drink, or whether it's a cold drink or water, you want to have it through straw. Now you have to suck it from the upper end, then only water will come upward. Similarly, when the water is to be supplied to the leaves, there has to be a suction pull. That suction pull is actually provided by the transpiration process which occurs in stomata. Transpiration is removing the excess water through these tiny pores in the form of vapors. So excess water leaves the stomata, which creates a suction pull for the water to travel upwards. So if these stomata are blocked, firstly, exchange of gases will not take place. Secondly, transpiration will not occur. So the plant will not remain healthy for long, for sure. Right? So that's all from this topic. Let's move on to the next topic.